Welcome back, friends, subscribers, and fellow City Skylines. So what are we doing? Well, we are playing City Skylines, and this is my city. And right now, you are watching something I changed between episode 14 and 15. It was all the skyscrapers. I didn't like them. It didn't look very pretty. If you watch back on the previous video, you will see them ugly. They are right on the front by the river. They look ugly as well. Everything. They just look dreadful. So I've changed it. I've changed the actual zone from one thing to another, and it looks much better. So this video, we are really looking at expanding the industrial area. I had oil, but I really need ore. I need the forest and farming, because there's a lot of shops complaining about goods. So I'm just making space. At the moment I'm moving the rubbish area, the fly tip, not fly tip, that's the wrong thing, isn't it? But just the trash, the area that is full of flies and seagulls and all that. And that's basically what I'm doing. I'm trying to make it look prettier, and I'm not the best person at making things look pretty, but I give it a shot. And as you can see, I'm putting these kind of tall fences in, and for some strange reason they are sort of sunken into the ground. So I'm using the Move It mod and clicking on them and pressing page up, and they sort of just come out of the ground. They look much nicer, and it doesn't look too bad at all. Now I accidentally found the security area, and I thought, oh, that's quite a good one. I put that in there. A few cars can go in. That's kind of like the parking, I guess, for all the guys all the guys and gals who go off and drive those dump trucks. No, they're not dump trucks, are they? They are dustbins or waste disposal lorries around the area to keep the areas spick and span and away from all those horrible trolleys and litter and all that shit around the place. So I'm trying to put a bit of a mix in here, industry and just offices. I just want to get something looking a little bit different to what I'm doing. So this is interesting. In between playing the game, between episode 14 and 15, something miraculous happened. I got TMPE 11.5.1 stable, and this new feature appeared where you can select the entire roundabout and then choose an option, and it does everything for you. It's like, boom, thank you. Oh my lordy, I am so impressed. And I did it once. I wasn't quite sure how I did it, but you can see you can sort of select junctions, you can select the entire roundabout. And I think it's something I'm going to do in another video. I think I'm going to have to look at it and say, how does that work? I'm going to have to just do a little tutorial, because believe it or not, they are the biggest video views on my YouTube channel. So one of the other things you just saw there is I put the old pedestrian bridge over using the bridge builder, and it works remarkably well. I think I had to tweak a few little bits and bobs, but I was interested to see where the sim... Ooh, big fire, where's me fire engines and helicopters? Why are you not... Where? Anyway, move on. I wanted to see where the pedestrians were going, and to be honest, my trams and my routes are pretty bad. So I decided to make a little bit of a change. Rather than having all the trams going from the train station and then from the train station out to those kind of little regional zones, the little districts that I have, I thought what maybe I might do is I will use a metro, and I'll go from a metro station, which I already got near the train station, and then people can use the metro because it's a higher capacity and faster to move to the districts. The districts will then have trams in them so that they can move people around inside that local district. Again, the trams will only be there for daytime running, and there will be buses in the evening. This is also going to help quite a lot, because if you watch carefully, you can see that the trams cause an awful lot of congestion. So that will solve another problem. As you can see, I've been moving around, and one of the things I wanted to do here was put a pedestrian bridge across the highway, because I realised that actually the pedestrians will walk that distance. Now weirdly, when you put a bridge in, it's massively high. I think actually to make a bridge, it only needs to be like 6 meters above the ground. It looks a lot more realistic. The lorries and buses and stuff go underneath it and clear it. They don't collide with it. Not that they really care, but for looks, it looks much better to do that. So 6 meters is probably the right height if you haven't got lamp posts involved as well. So this time round, I think you noticed that in one of my previous videos I did like farming areas and forestry areas, and they were massive. I mean, really huge areas, and you don't need such big areas. So I thought I'm going to try to make more distinct industrial areas, so they are not, huge places, but they will have a few farms here and a few forestry areas there. I think that will help also quite a lot with the traffic flow. Now, a little cheat there is when you're moving that waste disposal area, normally you can't relocate that if it's full, so you have to go through the process of emptying it. Well, with the Move It mod, you just click on it and I can move it wherever I want. I don't have to worry about what the game really wants me to do. So here you can see that I'm extending out now the main road. I'm using one of these large I think it's a 6-way road. It's like, I guess what they would class as the city planner that you heard me talk a lot about you would use. It's like an artery road. I don't know if that's actually the right word, but yeah. So, and then you can use that to move traffic back and forth. Now I can already spot there's a bit of congestion there on the left hand side, so I'm going to have to look at that at some other point. But the main thing is, let's start putting in industrial area and collecting stuff. So that's one of the ore, I think that's an ore area that I can put in there. And yeah, although some of the stuff doesn't necessarily need to be where the level resources are. So for instance, the actual industry building and the barracks for the employees and the maintenance building, as long as it's in the actual industrial zoned area, it doesn't actually have to be on top of an area which has got the resource within. You don't want to use valuable space which could be used for harvesting the raw materials for just somewhere that the workers can sleep and the manager has his posh house. So again, I'm trying to make these places kind of spread out, not next to each other. I know some people just put them right next to each other, and I guess it doesn't actually make many difference if you've got kind of like unlimited raw materials turned on in the game. But is it realistic to have lots and lots of stuff right on top of each other? It probably looks better, but I thought I'm going to space it out. Also, if you have lots of them, you generate a absolute of trucks, and you really don't want to have of trucks around the place driving about, because you then just get a actually massive amount of traffic and congestion, and that is not good for your city. So I'm obviously putting in those refinery plants, the factories or plants, whatever you want to call them, that actually take some of that raw material and you puts it into, in that case, I think it was flour and animal products. And then once you can start sort of pulling that product from the raw materials into some kind of products, you can then start adding factories, and factories is what give you goods, and goods people make really good prices. Don't know where that come from, but hey, there you go. So I'm just detailing up, really just putting a bit of that sandy stuff in, just makes it look a lot more kind of industrial than having just beautiful green grass where the ore is being, pulled up. Added a few fences in as well, just trying to make that again a bit more realistic, more beautiful. The beautification process has now been improving. So yeah, a bit of fencing in just to give it a little bit more of probably a realistic look. So then I'm laying a little bit of concrete underneath some of these plants, because to be honest with you probably wouldn't have sand under these buildings. I think they probably would be on a proper more foundation based item, like lots and lots of concrete. It's a shame you can't make a nice straight edge. Well, I bet you can actually. I bet you can use one of those kind of square templates, and if you line it up really nicely, it will probably look fantastic. But as you know, a little bit on the slapdash side. Let's just whack this shit in, people. Boom! Shakalaka. So just whacking in the old trees. Let's just put a few trees in there, because if you all probably worked really hard in the ore industry, you go back to your barracks, you probably would not want to sit there looking at that machinery grinding away. I tell you, I'm having a right time trying to get my mouth full of words out today. But you wouldn't want to. Oh yeah, 11.5 TMPE. Beautiful. Get the mod, people, get the mod. So again, just changing a few bits and pieces around, making it not look so similar, putting some storage in. Some storage, well, I think actually all the storage could be outside of the industrial area. I've zoned up a lot of space, obviously, in the original oil industry area as well, for offices and industrial buildings. Hopefully when there's a demand, there is space for those places to become occupied. So that's the resource view. You can see it looks pretty good. I've done one of those little cheaty bits. I've dragged one industrial area to another so that I don't have two, and now I can fulfill another demand. Well, I can increase my supply and demand of a particular product. So I can just whack that in, put the relevant kind of areas in for the farming, and then just make it look quite nice. I have to say, the areas which got the glass houses on, whatever you want to call them, they look really nice. I think when you look at those up close, they do look quite special. But I did want to change it around, so I do put some different types of crops in. It's just purely visual, as opposed to actually, I don't think they actually do anything for producing any product faster, but it just looks a little bit more visually appealing. A little bit of TMPE in there just to make sure that the roads have got some turning lanes, because again, quite important to make sure that is correct. Again, TMPE 11.5.1, splendid stuff. So this is the roundabout. It has a bit of congestion on it, and I could see for some strange reason they were stopping and starting, and it was obvious. Again, for some strange reason, I'm pretty bloody sure that I did this, that I went off and turned all crossings off on all junctions. Once I turned the crossings off, the vehicles did stop that whole stupid pause thing, and the actual junction flows so much better. Zoning up again so that I can have offices and industrial buildings of a particular type in certain areas, which would be closer to the raw materials that they are being produced. So we're coming very, very close to the end of this video, and in a few seconds, you will have a chance to peruse the entire area in a lovely cinematic flyover, time lapse, if you will, of the new Isles of Flexum industrial area. So thanks very much for watching to the end of the video. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. So thanks very much for watching. See you again soon. Goodbye for now. Bye.